Okay, so you can imagine that this would be full of nutrient-rich water, like powder that you can get at the hydroponic store, like some kind of liquid fertilizer, and the pump, which is this thing. Really don't know what I've done here. Pumps some air into a tube that goes into the bottom of the reservoir, and there's a little hole in the bottom of the tube, and then water gets in the tube, and then it carries on mostly air, but like little bits of water, up the riser. This is called a riser, all the way up to the top. And then, how it used to be, there was 2 risers going all the way up in 2 different columns, and then they would split at the top like this. Like, this isn't how it's supposed to look, but they would kind of like split, like one here and one here. This is like a T splitter, and then so, yeah, it would like the watery air would like come up, hit the T, and then fall back into these 2 containers. And same thing on this side, and then it would just like go. It would like saturate the pellets. These are the pellets. They're called expanded clay pellets, and it's just like a soilless medium. And so what happens is the nutrient-rich water hits the pellets, and then it goes into like all of the like, little cracks and crevices, and eventually saturates all of the pellets in each cup. And then once the pellets in one cup have become totally saturated, they start to, like the water just drops through it because like there's nowhere else for it to go. It drops into the next one, and then it does the same thing to that one, and the same thing to that one. Then when it comes to the bottom here, it's supposed to have, this would be connected to a tube coming back into the reservoir, and then the cycle begins again.
Continues. So you said you're pumping air into the water, and mostly air and a bit of water is good.
Yeah.
Why are you pumping a lot of air?
It's just because it's an air pump. If you try to ask it to pump pure water, it just wouldn't be powerful enough. So when you watch it, like I've had like a see-through tube sometimes, and you watch it, it's kind of like, oh, don't use that chair. You sit on the bed. That chair should be in the garbage.
Yeah, it worked until just now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really not as set up as it could be to like really give the full impression of what's going on. But I think that's kind of it. The air comes up the risers, watery air comes up the risers, hits a T, and then comes back down into the reservoir. Cycle continues. And I had it running. It was running for about 15 minutes every hour. It would take about 5 minutes to saturate all of the cups, and then after that it would just kind of be like adding moisture to the roots. And the cool thing with this medium is that it's full of like these little tiny holes that go inside everywhere. Like it's very like it's very light, like it's kind of hollow inside. And so when the water stops dripping, the roots, which are wrapped around these things, pull the moisture, pull the water out of them. So this way they're never actually dry. Like the roots never actually don't have access to moisture and nutrients because they're wrapped around these things. And there's like a membrane or whatever that like sucks it out. And then by the time these things get dry again, the cycle turns on. And so that's the cool thing about hydroponics is that there's always the perfect amount of moisture and nutrients. Because the roots get to choose how fast they take it out of the pellets. And there's no way that you can oversaturate them because it's obviously, like oversaturation would just fall through back into the reservoir. So you can't oversaturate them, and they always have access to an unlimited but appropriate amount of nutrients and water. This is why hydroponics can grow certain things better than soil ever could.
Right, much faster.
Much faster, yeah. And then if you do it really well, you can grow things bigger than a soilless or than a soil situation could. But like Curtis Stone says, there's also drawbacks. Like you lose the micro organisms and stuff.
So is there like better plants to go up top then? Because they get, or do they all get evenly watered pretty much? Or do the top ones actually get more watered?
It's pretty much even, I think. Like they have more water fall through them, but I don't think they have more overall, well, because the way it's set up is the roots can always take exactly as much as they want, and when the system is running, it's not really recharging the roots, it's recharging the pellets.
Okay.
So the pellets act kind of like a battery for moisture and nutrients. As long as the pellets are always kind of damp, the roots can get anything they want.
And like the really long bottle, is that for just like plants with longer roots?
It's just because that's where we happen to cut it. No specific reason. I think that the best size would be like a lower one, because the taller the bottle, the less room there is for the actual plant to grow. And also when you're growing with hydroponics, the root structures are really, really small.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I had a tomato plant that I had on the lowest rack that had grown all the way up to here.
Oh my
and
god.
it was like, it would have grown up more, but there's no light up here, so it stopped going. And it expanded completely this way. Like it was like completely taking up the window.
Crazy.
And there was like chard and stuff in front of it. And its entire root structure was inside a container this big.
Right. It's because the roots don't have to grow big, because usually
Yeah.
the roots grow big in order to find nutrients, but the nutrients are right there.
Exactly.
So then it puts all its energy into the plant growth instead
Yeah.
of the root growth.
Exactly.